And one important thing is that rule and rule binding question is already there in the simulator. Thus, I will go with cluster rule, which is most important as per exam. I believe that you know what I mean. So let's take a look that what type of first question it may ask in your exam. In every question, it is mentioned that you need to use the context. Very first thing is that whenever you attempt, just copy this line and paste in your PUTI session. And after that, a general statement about the question, what this question is about to, and then you need to perform some task. Take an example here. Create a namespace, red hyphen namespace, and after that, you will ask to create a new cluster rule named this one. It should be this one, which only allowed to create following resources. What resources are? Pod, deployment, daemon set, secret, and stateful sets. So these resources you should create with the help of this cluster rule. Further, the third task it is asked us to create a service account and the name should be this one, red SA user one in the existing namespace red hyphen namespace. After that, bind new cluster rule that we created earlier in our second task to a new service account this one and limit it to namespace this one. One can observe that cluster rule is always created with cluster rule binding. Cluster rule and cluster rule binding are not the namespace object. But here in question it is asked us it is limited to the namespace this. But we also know that we can bind role binding with cluster rule. Means that it will ask us to create role binding instead of cluster rule binding. And how to resolve this task? Let's have a look here. It is says allow. Verb is allow here. Solution is we also check the question very carefully and read it twice and get to know that what information it is given. Cluster rule is this one. Verb is create here. Resources, what resources we need to bind here. Service account name is this. And what we need to create namespace, cluster rule, service account, and rule binding. Now let's take an example that create a namespace. What we can do, we can execute the command kubectl config use context this one. This is the first command that I need to execute that I said you earlier. And after that, for creating the namespace, we can kubectl create namespace and the namespace name what is it is written in the exam, right? Any name it is given. After that, the second task is create a cluster role named this one, which only allowed to create the following resources type. It means that verb is create. Now what we can do here, we can execute the command kubectl create cluster role and the name of the cluster role is here and hyphen hyphen verb is create hyphen hyphen resource is this one. What we can get this cluster role name is here and verb is create and resources are here. That's it, separated by comma. After that, third task is create a new service account named this one in the existing namespace. It means that we need to create the service account and what command we need to execute here. Kubectl create service account. The name of this minus n namespace. It is mentioned in this task that we need to create this service account inside this namespace. Okay, and this is the namespace here. The fourth task is bind cluster role to service account limited to the namespace. It has not asked us to create cluster rule binding, but we know that we can bind with only role binding. So what we can do here, we can execute the command kubectl create a role binding and the role binding name you can define anything. It is not mentioned any name, so we can use our name. Don't worry. Hyphen hyphen cluster rule. This is my cluster rule. After that, hyphen hyphen service account equal to namespace and then colon separated by colon and then service name. After that, hyphen and namespace. The namespace we have mentioned. Now the next topic is YouTube ADM to install a basic cluster. I don't think so that you will get any question from this point. The reason behind is that you will have your own clusters at the time of your examination. You need to perform some task. For that reason, your cluster will be up to date and ready. Thus, let's move to our next topic that is manage a high available Kubernetes cluster. Again, I don't think so that there will be any question. Provisioning underlying infrastructure to deploy a Kubernetes cluster. No question will become. Perform a version upgrade on Kubernetes cluster YouTube ADM. There is a good chance that you will get one question from this topic. Thus, let's elaborate how we can upgrade the Kubernetes cluster. In exam, you may observe this type of question that there is one cluster which is running on version 1.27.8, you need to upgrade all the Kubernetes control plane. Control plane means master nodes, and data plane means worker nodes, and node components. Node components are kubelet and kubectl. In this question, I have mentioned that you need to upgrade all the components on master node only to version 1.28. It means that we need to upgrade from 1.27 to 1.28. You are also expected to upgrade kubelet and kubectl on master node only. In exam, you need to read the question very carefully to understand on which node you need to upgrade, whether it's a master node or worker node or both. A detailed video is already uploaded on my YouTube channel. I have added the link here, and I will also add this link in my description of this video. In exam, you can open the kubernetes.io webpage. It is allowed. Click on documentation, and here you can click on kubeadm upgrade. Open the first link, but in exam reference, if you click on the reference link, it will open this page directly. Upgrade the kubeadm cluster from 1.27 to 1.28. So I click this link. If I scroll down, now you need to check the OS. How you can check the OS? Uname minus A or cat slash etc slash reddit release. You will observe that which OS it is. If it is Ubuntu, then stick with this. And if it's CentOS, RHEL or Fedora, click on this button. Now you will see that command will be changed. Let's stick with this Ubuntu Debian. You need to log in into masternode and then apt update and then run this command. Upgrading the control plane nodes. Follow the documentation. That's it. Ubuntu, copy this command and paste on your terminal, and also edit this X. What version it is asked in your question. Modify this value and then paste it. Here it is also mentioned that replace X with your question. Verify the download work ADM version. Verify to ADM upgrade plan, and then to ADM upgrade apply version, whatever the version you have mentioned the exam. Just follow this link. I have already followed this link, my video. If you are lucky and they will ask you to upgrade the master node, then you don't need to switch the other node. Why I'm saying that, let's suppose if they ask you to upgrade the worker node, then kubectl command will not available on worker nodes. Then you have to switch back to master node and then apply the kubectl command like this when you going to drain the nodes. But I believe that they will ask you for the master nodes. If it's master node, then there will be no confusion for you. Just follow the document, that's it. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me on the comment box. I will try to help you. But yes, you have to watch my video first, then ask me question. Now the last topic from this is implement etcd backup and restore. In the exam, they may ask you to take an etcd snapshot, and there would be one snapshot already taken. You need to restore the etcd backup from this file. Here's the question. Create a snapshot of existing etcd instance running at the https, this one, and the port is 2379. Saving the snapshot to this file. There is another snapshot created and you need to restore it. Hence, there are two tasks that we need to perform. First, we need to identify the etcd port, right? This is the command we can use. kubectl-n kube system get port and grab etcd. Or we can execute kubectl get minus port minus capital A. You will list all the ports. From there, you get to know that this is my etcd port name. etcd is a database server. It run on kube-system namespace. etcd port is a static port. It run on port number 2379. And this is what it is given question. Let me show you 2379. This is the port number here. Now we need to get more information like cert files, server key, endpoints. We can get this information if we execute this command kubectl minus n cube system describe pod and etcd port name. In your exam, the port name must be different, right? If I execute this command, I will observe this type of output. And here I have already highlighted with this one. Server cert file is cert file. Data directory is my varlib etcd. Server key is this key file. Lesson on, and here you observe the port number 2379. So it means that this is my endpoint. And CA cert is my trusted CA file at the bottom. Now people will get confused that CA cert file and server cert file. How do you remember this thing? CA cert file is trusted CA file. The other cert file is for server cert file. I hope this is clear for you. Now we get all these information. Once we have all these detail, we can take the snapshot, and this is the command etcd and this is not cubes CTL, it is etcd CTL. Endpoints, CA cert file, cert. If you're not able to recall this command, and I'm not recommending you to learn this command, you just need to go to kubernetes.io webpage. In the left hand section, search for etcd backup, open the first link, scroll down, and you will observe snapshot using etcd CTL options. And this is the command here. And if you read this, where trusted CA file, cert file, and key file can be obtained from the description of etcd pod. This is what I have already shown you. Okay. And we need to snapshot save, and we need to give this name varlib etcd snapshot 123.db file. In exam, you will observe a different file, whatever the file name you just mentioned here. This command will take the snapshot and save in this file. We can also verify that this file is created or not with the help of ls space minus l command. Now, our first task is complete. Second task is how to restore from backup file that is given in the question. Make sure to use sudo before running command, otherwise it will throw the permission issue error message. And this is the command etc control snapshot restore data dr varlib from whatever the directory you want to mention, you can mention, and the file that is given in the question. You need to restore from this file. This is what I mentioned in my command. Now the question come again here that what is data dir? In the previous output when we execute this command describe, you observe that data dir is my varlib etcd. This is my data directory. But when we restore, we need to provide a new directory name here. The reason behind is that when we restore from this file, it will create multiple files, and that file will be created inside this directory. I use this directory name from hyphen backup. You can use whatever you want the name. If you don't remember this thing, then obviously kubernetes.io is your friend. On the same page, if you scroll down, storing an etcd cluster, you will observe this command here etcd etl hyphen hyphen data directory snapshot restore and the file name from where you want to restore it. And in the beneath, you will observe that where data directory is a directory that will be created during the restore process. So let's move forward. Now we have restore. If this command is not working, then you can use the same command and also use endpoints, csert, cert, and hyphen hyphen key. This is what we used earlier and the same file name here. I'm just giving you all the options. If this command not work for you, then you can use this one. After that, you need to use chown change ownership minus r Minus R for recursive. Etcd is username and group. Where left from backup. We created a new directory, and inside this directory there will be a more files created from this restore process. We're just giving the right permission. After that, a simple systemctl start etcd. That's it. Or you can restore it. If you want to learn more how we can take the etcd backup, then I have already uploaded one video on my YouTube channel. You can watch. If in your exam question server key cert file, CA cert file already given, then no need to look for etcd port description. Then your question would be more easier. Under cluster architecture installation configuration, I have already covered all the topics. They will ask question from these topics mainly. Thus, I can say that this point is completed and I'm stopping this video here. Thank you very much, guys. Bye bye.